Hi, and welcome to MTG-Profits. As always, I am your host, Devin, and I am joined by Andy.
Hey, everybody.
And this is a podcast where we talk about all things Magic and typically pay special attention to things that impact the finances of Magic, both cards and products and the news as well. As always, I want you to make sure you poke on over to our website at MTG-Profits.com. And as always, feel free to check out some of the games that Andy posts on YouTube, the arena matches, and for some slightly different content. So head on over and check those things out. As always, we appreciate your support and feedback.
And the website has been freshly updated, so go get some fresh news and other goodies.
Go on over and suckle on that fresh content.
You know you love it, just like that drug.
It is a juicy
information.
Excellent.
We're
excellent.
Happy to give it to you. Free.
Absolutely. Exactly. You can't beat that price.
It's awesome.
Talking about value, that's a pretty high value right there. It's hard to beat free.
It's very hard. We love you so much, it's free to you.
Exactly. That's right. So we've got a couple of interesting news items today, and my first bit of news was is regarding some sealed product, and one of the more recent products that I've been liking is surprisingly out of print. They stopped printing Dominaria boxes. They quit early. So it's a little bit of a disappointment for me. I had been actually looking forward to picking up some boxes, but no distributors have them. And it's kind of a funny situation because we usually get a final warning, like last call notice, and then the distributors get the final orders in. But what happened this time was essentially the product went out of stock at all distributors. No distributors were really hoarding the product, as is typical of products that are about to go out of stock. They'll usually hold some product back for their own personal stockpiles to then sell later. And so what's happened this time was Wizards pulled a fast one and said, surprise, bitches, no more reprints. No more fresh boxes of Dominaria for you.
Jeez.
So I would expect the prices to spike relatively quickly in compared to other recent sealed products. So it was an in-demand set with fun mechanics that people enjoyed, with the vaunted Richard Garfield associated with some of the card design, and it is now out of print, freshly out of print, and in a way that was surprising. So hold on to your sealed boxes. I know you've got one or two floating around.
One. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's kind of funny. It's been almost a year since Dominaria was released.
Yeah.
It
seems like it was 3 months ago.
Yeah.
Again, the product release cycle is so rapid pace. It's like very challenging to keep up. And speaking of challenging, that was, I think, one of your news items too. Speaking of release cycles.
Oh yeah, well there's always product coming out. It seems to be a never-ending flow of that. And there's some more news on this. Wizards just released news of the next set of Challenger decks for 2019.
Yeah.
And I think the decks are pretty much what we expected. A lot of these are some very standard, very well-known and well-played already archetypes. So we have the classic vampires white deck.
Man, that deck looks super weak too. I don't know if you looked at that deck list. I was like, this is terribly weak.
It seems pretty bad. I mean, the only thing that I really like out of that is, I guess, the history of Benalia is really the only real juicy thing. Everything else seems very weak.
It's really garbage. Yeah.
This is, I guess, a vampire /
white weenie
style deck.
This was a stripped down version of a Louis Scott Vargas deck that's a red-white deck, and they stripped out all the good red cards and left all the trashy white ones.
Oh, God. That one's very
This one seems the weakest of the bunch from both a financial aspect and actual gameplay aspect. This one looks probably the weakest, I would say.
Yeah, very very disappointing in that. The next one looks pretty good, Lightning Aggro. This is your classic kind of speed aggro deck. We've seen a lot of this on Arena lately, and pretty potent deck, very fast. We've got a lot of fast things with the Lightning Strike, Wizard's Lightning Shock, some Lava Coils. The Chain Whirler is in there, 4 of him, which is very juicy.
That is juicy, yeah.
I'd like it just for 4 of him.
Yeah. This one I think is probably the best deck of the decks as far as, not necessarily from a financial value standpoint, although the Rekindling Phoenix is in there, and that's a pricey little bugger. But I know he's just about to rotate that Rekindling.
Yeah, I think he's, let's see, the Rekindling...
He is currently 30, was that 32 it looks like? No, 15. He's currently $15.99. Although, boy, I think he might have dropped probably since the news of his reprinting and
probably
his value probably went down like $8. But he's sitting at 16 right now, so that's a pretty.
I mean, the Chain Whirler is a couple bucks. I think it's like $2-3 or whatever.
I think so.
So
I think this deck is probably the best deck to play with if you were going to pick one up and play with it. There is a glaring absence in this deck, and it's in like every red deck now. And did you happen to realize what was missing from this deck?
Let me see. Let me look at the cards again.
Take a look and think about if you were using this deck, what card would you have 4 of in this?
Let's see. We got the 4 Fanatical Firebrand, the Lava Runner, the Fiendkin, I like him, the Machina Pyromancer, the Chain Whirler, the Phoenix, there's some Lava Coil, Banefire. I'm trying to think of 2 Experimental
Think if you were going to play a red deck in almost any red deck right now, and especially one that's like trying to win fast, what are you putting 3 copies of in your deck?
I would put, I think you're thinking of the one juicy thing, the what's the name of it? The risk factor.
The risk factor is exactly right. There's no risk factors in this deck. The risk factor needs to be in a deck like this.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's like the 5 damage or the 4 damage and draw 3 cards. There is absolutely no reason not to have three risk factors in this deck.
Yeah.
I was like, this is a glaring absence. I was like, what are they thinking?
Absolutely, I totally agree. And they even say that. They kind of mentioned, well, you could upgrade it by adding in the risk factor. And, they even say, I recommend Lay Up the Stage, excellent. Skewer the Critics, excellent. And risk factor, first and foremost.
Okay, well, that makes sense. Because I was sitting there and reading that, I was like, why is risk factor not in here? And Wizards comes out and says dumb crap like, oh, we don't pay attention to the secondary market when we design our product. That's bullshit. Because otherwise they would have put risk factor in this thing. But they know risk factor is like a $4 card, and it would push the value over their the amount they want the card.
Yeah.
Exactly. So when they say things like they don't pay attention to the secondary market, this is just more proof that they constantly pay attention to the secondary market. Constantly. Absolutely. With every release, and every product.
That also seems so, I don't know, disingenuous, I guess, maybe. That
it is.
Like, we want to make a deck that's really competitive, but we're not going to put the stuff that you really, really would make it competitive.
Exactly. Exactly.
Wait, so you're going to give me a watered-down competitive deck that's sort of competitive?
And that's exactly what they seem to be doing. That's what they've done with all of these. And even the last one, which is probably the worst deck, the Drake deck, but they changed it. It's actually a currently viable deck, but they've taken out some of the best cards and taken the sideboard cards from the Drake deck and put it into the main board, and they called it the Arcane Tempo deck.
So this was supposed to be, I guess, the classic Is It Drake type deck.
Yeah.
But it's not.
It's missing 4 of that critical 3-mana Drake that's a X4 flyer. It needs 4 of those.
Yeah, the Enigma
any
Drake.
of them. The Enigma Drake, yeah. And it's got, it does have the crackling drakes, but and there was like these Niv Mizzet Parans. These are in the sideboard in the original deck, but they took out the mythics to put them in. They took out the Arclight Phoenixes and put in the Niv Mizzet instead. I think the Arclight is another pricey one, which is exactly why when they say things like, "Oh, we don't pay attention to the secondary market," darn well they do, because otherwise there would be at least 2 Arclight Phoenixes in there, at least. But the Arclight's like $23 or something.
Oh my!
Yeah. It was in the 30s until this dropped. It was 32 a card.
Yeah, I remember that. That was a price.
That seems obscene, honestly. I don't think Arclight's that good, but you need 4 of it, so.
So what do you think of the last one, the Deadly Discovery, the green-black deck?
Let's see. Let me look at this one. This was the. I actually like this one, but again, why are there only 2 Jadelight Rangers? This entire deck is all about exploring.
With that Wild Growth Walker.
But no, they only put 2 of the best Explore card available in Standard currently.
Absolutely.
So, it's funny. Like, what do you think if you had to compare this round of Challenger decks to the previous round of Challenger decks? Which do you think were better?
I'd have to see the full list of the last ones again.
I hear you.
But I feel that the last ones were better.
The last ones definitely seem to have a higher power level to me.
Yeah, absolutely.
They would include like 4 ofs of powerful mythics, or 3 ofs, They'd have like the Gear Hulks, or they'd have the powerful crew ships or whatever. They did a very good job. So I think power level wise, the old Challenger decks are probably better than the new ones, and I think even value wise, honestly, the old ones might have been better too. It's hard to say because at current prices, these still look really high. Like if you price these out, they usually come into the 60s. Yeah. And they're currently MSRP is 30. But the thing about it is some of these and some of the most expensive cards are just about to rotate. Like the Arclight Phoenixes and like that. Like the most expensive mythics, they're just about to rotate. So they're they're going to go down the toilet when it comes to value. But so I don't know. I don't know if they hit it out of the park as much.
To buy one, which one would you buy? So just buy one.
Value-wise, it's definitely going to be the Arcane Tempo, and I'll tell you why. It's quite simply the Arclight Phoenix at 20, even at $20. You could just sell him out instantly, and almost make your money back. And also the Sulfur. It has 3 Sulfur Falls in it, so.
Oh yeah, that's true.
The Sulfur Falls is not super expensive, but
what, like 7 or so?
Let's take a look. Sulfur. It seems wow, it's way more than I thought. $7 currently. Holy cow.
What a guess.
Yeah, although that'll tank because it's about to rotate as well.
Yeah.
But still, guess what? These buddy lands, you'll see them back. Wizards hasn't finished tapping that well.
No.
This land cycle will be back. The buddy lands will return. Yeah. So, if you get a bunch of these and you just wait, this is this is the kind of thing that I would like, that I normally pick up at sub $3. Like I wait till they drop to like $2.50, and then I resell them when they come back into standard.
I would say too, one other thing I really like about that Arcane Tempo is the Chart of Course. Like that card.
Yeah, absolutely. Like just utility wise, that card is excellent. Yeah, it's a good one.
And it's surprisingly expensive for an uncommon.
I think that'll change too because it's probably about to rotate as well.
Still, about $2 for an uncommon.
Is it really?
Oh,
wow.
Yeah.
And I think even Opt is not that cheap for a common either.
Yeah. I agree. That's probably the most value deck, but I if I was to get one that I want for fun,
yeah,
I'd want the lightning aggro, personally.
I think I like the red one the best as far as actual wins. If you want to actually play to win, like if you were going to pick one up and try to compete at your FNM, that's probably the one that I would pick. Yeah. It's easy to pilot. It's obvious what to do. It's just
pretty fast. It's going to hit hard.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So, but if I could get these, depending on how cheap I can get them, the Arcane Tempo is the ones that I would buy to parse out. I would pop out those Arcane Phoenixes, sell them instantly, keep the rest.
One word of caution though too. I remember what was the it was a Challenger deck one. It just came out not too long ago, and there was one card in it that made it all. We said all.
Hazoret. It was the Hazoret, right?
Hazoret. No. It was. I want to say it was a white card.
I don't know that there were any white white Challenger decks last time. It was blue white. There was a blue white one that was pretty weak.
It was the privileged position. The privileged position was
the guild pack.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a guild pack.
Guild pack. That's what I meant.
Yeah.
But we say, well, that guild pack or the privileged position goes for, I don't remember, 22 or something. But I remember trying to sell it, and man, it took me a long time to sell it, and I did not get nearly the value that it was.
Yeah, you're exactly right. So that definitely has to be taken into account. Is demand for the card.
Yep.
And the demand for cards that are rotating out of standard is abysmal. So even a fantastic card like Privileged Position, it's freaking awesome. Yeah. Even that one is hard to sell unless you sell it for a deal.
Yep. Exactly.
Yep. In any event, I do like the idea of the Challenger decks. I like the idea of Wizards coming out with decks that are at least freaking playable. As opposed to absolute and utter garbage like Planeswalker decks or even the dual decks. They're so atrociously bad. At least these feel like a deck.
Excuse me. I'd almost wish that these decks like these Challenger decks were the standard types of decks that came out with the set, and that they'd have an actual real premium Challenger deck product that had all the goodies.
Absolutely.
No?
I don't know why they don't do that with like foils or something. You know what I mean? Like if you want to have a pimped out version, but you're exactly right, because the Planeswalker decks are so bad. And those are supposed to be the products that you point a new player towards. Yeah. And it's like, if you point a new player towards those products, all they're going to do is get curb stomped all day, and they're going to hate the game. Because, and imagine you pay $15 for a Planeswalker deck, and you can't win a single game ever,
Certainly not someone who's playing a competitive deck. You're just not...
Or even a deck like this. You could match them up against one of these Challenger decks and they're going to get destroyed.
Yeah, they really will.
Unless they get very lucky. So I think Wizards needs to do a better job with their introductory product lines. Like, cards, products that introduce players to the game need to not be just straight up garbage.
Exactly.
Exactly. I wish they would do a better job with that. I don't know why they don't learn from other companies that do a better job with that. Imagine if you were new to the game, never played it before. You want to go buy your own stuff. You don't want to play with your friend's deck. You want to have your own deck. So, and you're kind of new-ish. And you want to get a sense for what the game is all about. You pick up one of those Planeswalker decks, it's going to be a terrible experience for you.
Yeah, definitely.
And then what's your thought process going to be? Like, oh my God, look at how expensive my friend's cards are. These cards are $40 cards, and he's got a bunch of them. Now I have to pay $100 just to start playing with him at a casual level.
Yeah,
it's daunting. I think they should do a better job. I don't know why they're so reluctant to do a better job.
I don't know. It
Not
probably
sure
all comes back to the money, I'm sure, somewhere.
Yeah, it just seems so illogical. But
Yeah.
I don't know. I guess that's why we're not making the big bucks at WotC.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
So.
Oh, goodness.
Yeah. But what other news items did we have?
I think you wanted to talk about Horizons, right?
Oh, that's right. The modern Horizons. I wanted to briefly discuss that. So that is going to be an interesting release. So I still stand by my anticipation that the cards in it are going to be good, and I think they will be sought after cards. The news is now that apparently they're going to slow roll the release of this, even though it is a print to demand product. I think what they're going to do is slowly trickle out the supply in order to avoid a conspiracy to crash of the market for those cards. I think so. Apparently, and I heard this over on Alpha Investments that who's saying that the distributors have essentially told him that the cards are going to be slow rolled and the boxes are going to be trickled out. There will be multiple print runs, but they're going to be. It's not going to burst out onto the scene in a fashion that's going to destroy the card value instantaneously. And so essentially, Wizards may have learned from their past mistakes and don't want to screw up a mid-tier priced product. Because they don't want to. I don't think they want to destroy the goodwill of the community who's buying cards at $7 a pack at their mid-tier pricing. I think they're going to. Well, supposedly they'll be rolling it out slowly to keep the value high, and the card quality. Well, I should be careful how I phrase that. Not card quality, but the card selection in the set will probably be relatively powerful, sought-after cards. So the desire for the cards will likely be there.
So presumably they will not flood the market with this initially.
Exactly, and I don't know if you read this, but they said, and I have to find this article, but I believe this is from the WotC website itself. They said that there are going to be, how did they phrase it? But essentially no modern reprints. They were all going to be new cards, never before seen, and printings of cards that have never been in Modern before. So they're going to bring up older cards with the older border and print them into Modern. And so that I actually anticipate it will spike some of the card values from some of the older cards that are not currently in Modern. So it'll be curious to see, because a lot of bulk cards may actually spike in price due to their introduction in a Modern legal set. So the problem is it's impossible to predict which ones those are going to be, because otherwise you could just start snatching them up. Old cards that are like, 10-cent cards that people don't play because they're not really powerful enough for Legacy or Vintage, but would be powerful enough in Modern, or Pauper. So they'll probably reprint some cool commons and things. So it'll be interesting to see how they do this. But I think the power level of the cards will be high, the interest level will be very high, and the supply will be somewhat constrained, although not actually limited. So it will not be a limited edition print run like Iconic Masters, Masters 25, Ultimate Masters, Eternal Masters. So it won't be limited print run. It'll just be limited supply initially. So they'll bottleneck that to slow the tanking prices. So we'll see how it goes. I still don't know if I'll be buying boxes on that. I think I'm going to wait, take a wait and see approach. So.
Well, I guess one little side note to that too. We have seen, and I've noticed a couple articles about this too, about the. Well, I guess I'm getting ahead of myself. We should maybe talk just a little bit briefly here about War of the Spark, and that's coming up. And I guess two little items on that. One, we talked before about, well, I think we were both of the kind of wait and see approach and not buy right away on that.
I do think those boxes will be pretty good, though.
I think they'll be good, but we did kind of break that rule a little bit because last week, and I hope everybody was paying attention, there was a eBay coupon that was going around for 15% off. So effectively, with that, you could pre-order a box of War of the Spark for about $75.
Yeah, absolutely good deal on that.
So I'm sure they'll do it again. So keep your eyes peeled, and we'll try to announce that if we spot it.
And let us know. Give us some feedback if you're interested in hearing about things of that nature. Let us know so that we know whether or not it's worth posting on the website under an urgent note or something.
Yeah, we'll do an urgent podcast announcement.
Yeah.
Because $75 is not too shabby.
No, anytime you can get any kind of sealed product for in the 70s is a very good deal. Mid-70s especially in light of the fact of the new higher pricing tier that Wizards is charging distributors.
Yeah.
So anything in the 70s is a steal of a deal.
So look for that again. Look for the deals. We'll try to keep you posted on that. Pick that up as a deal. And also, as I was preluding to, we have seen some reactions to the War of the Spark as far as certain card prices have been going up. People are taking a notice of these and speculating about the War of the Spark. I mean, we don't know a whole lot. We know there's going to be planeswalkers. There's going to be planeswalkers in every pack. Not too much else besides that solid. But we are seeing some spikes in some planeswalker-related cards. I think one I saw, two cards I saw noted particularly was the Oath of Teferi and the Oath of Nissa. I both saw some write-ups on those.
Nice. I know the one you picked even went up too.
Yeah.
Your pick from last week, I think, is up.
The Oath of Ajani.
Yeah.
You mentioned. Yeah, the Oath of Ajani. I think any of these oaths are going to be a solid pick going forward. Because all of them have some sort of planeswalker impact. Some of them might say are a little bit more powerful than others. I think all of them are pretty good.
Yeah, I think so. Yep.
I particularly like the Oath of Ajani and the Oath of Gideon myself. The Ajani gives is a cost reducer for planeswalkers, and the Gideon gives you extra loyalty counters for your planeswalkers.
Yeah. What's the Nissa one? Is that the one where you get land?
The Nissa one is one where you can use any colored mana to cast your planeswalkers.
That one's my favorite. I remember thinking that was the stuff.
Yeah, and that one has gone up.
Oh my, it has. Oh gosh, it's like $4.
Yeah, it's jumped up dramatically. Yeah. So I would continue to expect to see more planeswalker cards spike upwards. So we'll give you more details and more of our picks on that. But keep thinking about that and what you want to get. One other one, I'll just throw out one that I saw and got a few of. Deploy the Gatewatch.
Yes. That's the white one, right?
It's a white one. It's a little pricey. It's $6 to cast, but look at the top 7 cards of your library. Put up to 2 planeswalker cards from among them onto the battlefield. So, pretty good if you're going to have all planeswalkers.
Yeah, that's pretty nice. Wow, this one's gone up a little bit too. This was one of the trash. This was like one of the trash mythics that you would have hated to get. Ooh, this is a mythic as well. That should drive that price up a little bit.
Yes. And I'll give one more freebie pick there too. Call the Gatewatch. 2 colorless, 1 white. Search your library. Yeah, search your library for a planeswalker, reveal it, put it in your hand.
Yeah, that one seems good.
That seems like another no-brainer to me.
It does. Any kind of tutor, it's just good.
just good. Yeah.
Yeah.
And this is a pricey one. It's still pricey in my opinion, but I think, man, you might want to consider investing in it. I think it actually has had some movement lately. Is the Arena Rector from Battle Bond. When the Arena Rector dies, you may exile it and then search for a Planeswalker card and put it onto the battlefield.
Oh my!
Yeah.
I'm unaware of this one. Let me take a look.
Yeah,
the name sounds familiar, but boy, I sure don't remember that effect.
It's about $18 now, so it's not a cheapie.
Woo! Arena Rector. Let's see. Oh, yeah, look at this. Battle Bond. Is this a mythic? It must be.
It is.
Yeah. When he dies, exile it. Ooh, yeah, search. Oh, my.
It's pretty juicy.
Yeah.
It must be worth. I definitely see that guy spiking up more.
Wow. Boy, that is a pricey little bugger. Man, I don't like the art in Battle Bond. Ugh.
Some of it looks
some sorry stuff. It's like they took their B-roll art and yeah, they were like, we got to throw out a summer set, boys. Whatever art we have laying around.
Exactly. Get it done. Get it out there.
Wow, that's some bad art. I think it's supposed to be a woman too.
I can't really tell.
Yes. Good grief.
I guess it could be. I don't know.
Boy. But, yeah, these you're right about these Planeswalker cards, I think. Especially because they have a lot of casual appeal, which is actually why I think the War of the Spark is going to do so well. It has a lot of casual appeal. So
definitely promising.
It's like the Planeswalkers are irritating cards to play against, and but, you know, I guess if you can't beat them, join them.
Yeah, exactly. That's one way to do it.
I anticipate like a lot more cool ways to interact with Planeswalkers as well. Things that remove their tokens, things that reduce their ability to function. Because imagine you have a whole set with all these Planeswalkers running around, and you're gonna have to do some. You're gonna have to interact.
Yeah, I would assume there's got to be some, like you said, more Planeswalker related cards.
Yeah, I would imagine.
I hope so. We'll find out. We'll find out.
Exactly. Yep. Excellent.
Do you have any other news items?
You know, I really don't. That's about all I've got for the week. Okay. Nothing special.
The only other thing, last thing I had, you know, when usually we do some picks and some, you know, potentially things to sell, I threw out a couple random picks in there, but officially I'd say I had two things that you should go ahead and sell now, both from Ravnica Allegiance, both uncommons. First off, light up the stage. Go ahead and light that up and dump it.
Light it up.
Light it up.
Yeah.
Great card. I love it. This is 2 colors, 1 red. It basically lets you draw 2 cards and play them until the end of your next turn. If you can,
this is a good one.
It's a great card, and it can only need to pay 1 red mana if you can pull off a spectacle on it.
I think this one's going to see a lot of use throughout its legal life in Standard, but I agree this one's a little high right now. You'll be able to get them later in the future, unless you need them for your Standard decks. I think you're right about this because they're selling for about $250.
Yep. And you know, just as a side note on that, I had 4. I put them up last night. They were already sold.
Yeah. Oh wow, that's good. How'd you get 4? Did you buy a 4 of one of those?
I did.
4
I did. Yeah.
Was it the kit?
No, I actually went with a different guy this time. Who was slightly more expensive, but offered more. So I was like, wow, I have to go for the Switch.
Nice. It seems to back when I did that, I was always the Kid Icarus.
That's what I did too.
Yeah.
Always the Kid Icarus. Then that's another secret which we will reveal in
time. Exactly.
Keep listening. And the last other sell pick, I would say, right along the same lines, this guy has become popular, and he's actually going for more than light up the stage. That is the Petramander.
Oh, the Pteramander or whatever.
Or the Pteramander, the little flying lizard. Or Salamander Drake. It's going to be official.
Yeah, this one is in the Drake deck. But he's
not Drake deck.
Or he should be.
He should be, but he's not.
Well, you know what? He's in the Drake deck, but they've changed it. It's no longer the Drake deck. They now call it the Arcane whatever deck.
Yeah,
so they pulled the 4 Pteramanders out of the Drake deck, and it's part of the dumbing down of the Drake deck. So
this little guy's going for about $3. So
Especially at an uncommon, you dump these.
Dump the little Drake.
Yeah. He's cool and all, but you'll be able to get him again cheaper.
Yeah. So go ahead and dump him.
Nice. Good call, dude. Good call.
Yeah. Two uncommons you should
Especially
get.
uncommons. Good grief.
Yeah, two uncommons, light up the stage, and Paramander.
Excellent.
Get rid of them.
Yep. Sell.
Sell.
You heard it here first.
You heard it here.
Andy has commanded.
Yes.
Heed the warning.
Yes.
Heed the command.
Yes, because they will go. This is probably about the high point, I would say, for both of these. Maybe a little bit more, maybe a couple cents more, but nothing major like $1 or anything like that.
Especially these Ravnica Allegiance boxes, because these are the ones that are going to be getting opened, with their drafting and whatnot. Absolutely. Still for a while. So
yeah, go ahead and dump these guys.
Yeah, very good.
So I think those are our selves for the week. As always, check out the website, check out YouTube if that's your thing, and may your picks always be profitable. We'll catch you next time.
All right, have a good one.
Take it easy.
Bye-bye.